Good night, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast with your favorite host, Mariana, Agustín, and Saraí. So, tonight we're going to be discussing one of the most infamous interviews of recent years, Jordan Peterson versus Katie Newman. So, the dialogue between them became a cultural flashpoint, not only because of the themes discussed like gender responsibility and equality, but because of the rhetorical main views and fallacies that surfaced through it. But first of all, I'm going to explain to you what a fallacy is so you can understand better the theme of this podcast, okay? A fallacy is an error in reasoning. Fallacious arguments are very common and can be quite persuasive, or at least to casual readers and listeners. So, you can find a dozen examples of fallacious reasoning in newspaper, advertisement, and other sources.
Types of fallacy. There are three types of fallacy: fallacy of relevance, fallacy of reconduction, and fallacy of presumption. The fallacy of relevance is when an argument relies upon premises that are not relevant to its conclusion, therefore cannot possibly establish its truth. Fallacy of reconduction, when the connection between the premises and the conclusion is not strong enough to support the reasoning. Fallacy of presumption, ambiguity, and grammatical analogy. Precisely what makes this debate so captivating is not the simple clash of ideologies, it's a clash of argumentative styles. Peterson embodies the clinical psychologist and empirical rigor, while Newman personifies the confrontation journalist. Yet, under the surface, both engage in fallacious reasoning, whether deliberately or unconsciously.
And yet, their interactions illuminates something deeper about modern discourse. Take Kathy's Newman's infamous open quotes. So you're saying interruptions. This is a textbook example of the straw man fallacy, where she misrepresents Peterson's now-set claims into simplistic caricatures.
To you that here in the UK, for example, let's take that as an example, the gender pay gap stands at just over 9%.
Yes, exactly. Instead of engaging with Peterson's complex argument, Newman takes it and reframes it into something more extreme, which makes it easier to attack. That is the very essence of straw man reasoning.
Peterson, too rhetorical, more precise, is not free of fallacious reasoning either. At times, he indulged the hasty generations, exploring from individual clinical experience to sweeping cultural truths.
You help people understand why it's necessary and important for them to grow up and adopt responsibility, why that isn't a shake your finger and get your act together sort of thing.
Right, in that statement, he makes his therapy ideas apply to everyone, saying that personal responsibility is the cure for all society's problems. It sounds strong when spoken, but it can be risky because it makes big problems seem only like individual mistakes.
Gender equality desirable?
If it means equality of outcome, then almost certainly it's undesirable. That's already been demonstrated in Scandinavia. Because in Scandinavia...
Moreover, Peterson frequently appeals to evolutionary biology, that it provided normative guidance, a classic naturalistic fallacy.
Exactly, he conveys described biological difference with prescribed cultural norms, implying that because certain sex-based tendencies exist, they ought to guide policy that research the philosophically precarious.
Newman, on the other hand, deploys appeals when mentioning statistics about inequality, rather than parsing casual variables. She dramatizes the injustice to elicit outrage.
You're saying women are just more sensible. They don't want that because it's not a nice life.
I'm saying that's part of it, definitely. And so I work
So you don't think there are barriers in their way that prevent them getting to the top of those companies?
There are some barriers, yeah, like men, for example. I mean, to get to the top of any organization is incredibly competitive.
And that emotional appeal with rhetorically striking. Weakness her argumentative rigor, it leaves her open to Peterson's empirical responses. I open quotes. Women don't want to live with useless weak men. I close them.
What fascinates me is the meta-level dynamics. Peterson operates with logos, grounding himself in data and psychological insight. Newman escalates with patterns, forming him as a culture villain. Their styles collide, and the audience perceives him as a calm rationalist against her combative interrogator.
From an analytical point of view, through all the debate, did Peterson did better? He really stayed calm, backed up his points with evidence, and the most important thing was that he showed where Newman twisted his words.
That's something that's just never going to happen.
It depends on what you mean by equality. No,
Being
if
treated
you mean
fairly,
men and women,
getting the same opportunities.
fairly, we could get to a point where people were treated fairly or more fairly. I mean, people are treated pretty fairly in Western culture already.
Yet to be intellectually honest, neither interlocutor was flawless. Peterson's reliance on essentially assumptions create philosophically blind spots, while Newman's aggressive mischaracterization dismissed her credibility.
Indeed, the debate illustrates not only how fallacies undermine arguments, but also how style and delivery can shape public perceptions more than substance.
So yeah, he takes what he sees in therapies and applies it to everyone, saying that personal responsibility can fix all of society's problems. This could sound convincing, but it can make big social issues seem like they're not just like only the fault of the individuals. This debate is remembered because it isn't about facts, but different ways of thinking, such as evidence and logic on one side, beliefs and emotion on the other.
We'll say, so with that we can conclude our discussion, and thank you so much for listening. And remember, rhetoric is never just about what it is said, but how it is said. I open quotes again, so men need to grow the hell up. I close quotes.
And need to, quote, grow the hell up.
Thank you so much. We wait you to listen to our new podcast next week.